It is our goal today to simplify things in the world of health and wellness by giving you information that will help you make wise choices. Ultimately, we hope that you will see the value in supplementation. No matter what, you will learn things about food you may not have known before, things that we believe make supplementation critical. According to the former chair of the RDAs are not recommendations for the ideal diet. The term recommended allowance is used to avoid any implication of optimal requirements. Understand that the government's language can be a little bit confusing, so let's explain. Those guidelines are only to help prevent things like scurvy, rickets, and beriberi. They were never meant to make us optimally healthy. And food labels may not be as accurate as you think they are. Food labels are allowed to be up to 20% off what is in the package. This makes us wonder, can they really be that far off? ABCnews.com did a study and found out. In 2008, they pulled 12 different foods off the shelf and found that all 12 were more than 20% off by at least one nutrient. 3 that were over 20% were Ritz crackers, which had 36% more sodium, Wonder Bread, which had 70% more total fat, and David's sunflower seeds, which had 23% more saturated fat. More research was done to see if things have gotten better since that study in 2008. Unfortunately, they have not. Labeling is a problem in other areas too. In 2015, the Food and Drug Administration found that the majority of herbal supplements at Target, Walmart, Walgreens, and GNC were found to contain a strange array of fraudulent and in some cases hazardous ingredients. Some were completely lacking in any of the ingredients listed on the label. The FDA does require manufacturers and retailers to correctly label all ingredients. However, these were all clearly in violation. This is why it is so important to only purchase your supplements from companies that are specialists in health and wellness with high standards in quality control. In January of 2013, Good Morning America ran a story where now they say companies are committing food fraud. For example, you may be looking at paprika. When looking at that spice, you want a bright red color, so you pick the best looking one. It turns out that paprika may have artificial chemical dyes that are not on the label to make it look like the best choice. And that's not all. They found out that much of the extra virgin olive oil tested wasn't really extra virgin olive oil. There might have been a little olive oil in there, but many of these were found to be largely canola oil. Even the way we farm is much different than it used to be. This is a modern-day commercial farm. As you can see, they are not out in the pasture grazing on grass. What do all those cattle eat? Now, most people are aware that unless it says grass-fed, it probably isn't. What most people think is that those cattle are fed a diet of grain, the grain normally being soy or corn. That is not a healthy situation, as we know how soy and corn crops are grown. But that is only part of what the cattle are eating. To understand the whole truth, you need to understand the great circle of food. What they do is they get the cow, take off all the prime cuts and sell those to the market. All the leftover scraps have to be used for economic efficiency. Now, what can be done with the leftover scraps and the bone meal? Well, that can be ground all together and then fed to our chickens. Chickens eating cow and bone, certainly not the way it was meant to be. Now, those chickens are going to have a lot of waste and excrement. That isn't disposed of either. That gets recycled and reused, or it's made into a really cheap food-like substance. This mixture of chicken manure, sometimes dead chickens, feathers, and spilled feed is rendered into a uniform substance that is then called chicken litter. What is done with this chicken litter, or poultry litter as it's known in the industry? It is mixed with grain and fed right back to our cattle. So now, we eat cattle that are eating chicken litter, manure, and possibly dead chicken parts, what they were never meant to eat. And don't forget, those chickens were first fed cow and cow bone meal. If you think what our animals eat is disgusting, think about what we eat. Does this look familiar to you? If not, don't worry. We'll just turn that into this. You've probably seen this before. It just doesn't look like this picture. It looks more like this. Yes, a chicken nugget. Now, not all chicken nuggets are this pink, slimy chemical mixture. No, this is mechanically separated chicken. You also may have had mechanically separated pork or mechanically separated beef, or all three of them mixed together in what is commonly known as a hot dog. What is actually done is to take off all the prime cuts and sell those, then take the actual carcass and scrape everything off, put it in a centrifuge and spin the meat right off the bone. They mix all that together into this, and then spray it with ammonia to deal with the E. coli and salmonella count, which tends to go up when you process meat in this way. That mixture is then breaded, fried, and served to us as chicken patties or chicken nuggets or hot dogs or pre-formed little hamburger patties. Remember, you're looking for the key words on the label, mechanically separated. They do spray it with ammonia for the E. coli, but not to worry. They then add artificial chicken flavoring, or if you're lucky, natural chicken flavoring to make it actually taste like chicken again. Keep in mind, though, there is very little that is natural about this natural chicken flavoring. Some people may say, well, I don't eat a lot of meat in general. I turn more towards vegetables and other products. Many of us eat a diet that is made up mainly of corn. If we look at ingredient labels, we will see corn in almost everything. This shows nutritional comparison of cornmeal from an heirloom variety to a more conventional cornmeal variety today. You can see the protein content has gone down. The fiber has gone down tremendously, along with many of the vitamins and minerals. As we saw earlier, over the last 50 years, the amount of protein, calcium, phosphorus, iron, riboflavin, and vitamin C in conventionally grown foods and vegetables has declined. Even wheat has about half the protein it used to have. This is why you may want to look into a good, high-quality multivitamin. Without nutrients, there are a lot of things in your body that just don't go right. Not only does a good multivitamin help support the immune system and cardiovascular function, it does something that's pretty critical. It helps turn your food into energy. Another thing that we know is that a lot of people tend to overeat. And that is for a pretty good reason. If you are eating and eating but not getting any nutrients, your brain may never say stop until your stomach is so full that it just can't take any more. At that point, it sends the signal to the brain that says, I'm full, you need to stop eating. The brain stops. But a half hour, an hour later, you're hungry again. You may wonder, how is that possible? How can I eat till I'm stuffed and then be hungry again a half hour later? That's because if your body does not have the nutrients it needs, it is going to keep sending the signal to continue to eat. Furthermore, if you take certain prescription or over-the-counter drugs, they may gobble up vitamins. Just something as simple as an antacid might affect your B vitamins, calcium, iron, and zinc levels. Therefore, it's even more important if you take over-the-counter medications or prescription medications to get certain micronutrients into your body.